What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Morning Brew podcast. I'm your host, Kayla, and I'm interviewing creatives every other week to bring you an authentic conversation about the experience behind their art. Before we get started, make sure that you're following the Morning Brew podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, and YouTube so that you don't miss any uploads or updates. This week, I'm super excited because I'm introducing you to my new friend, Craig Fort, from the band Lightning Stills, and we are here to talk about their album that came out on February 20th. Well, hey, Craig, thanks so much for joining. Super excited to get to know you a little bit better. Can you tell everybody your name and where you're from?
My name is Craig Fort. I'm originally from Columbus, Nebraska. I moved to Omaha, Nebraska, 2003. And now I live just outside of Omaha in a smaller town. So, but yeah.
Awesome. And we're here to talk about your band Lightning Stills and the debut album, which at the time of recording comes out this Friday.
February 20th, yes.
Let's go. Before we dive into the album, can you tell me a little bit more about the band?
Yeah, this is something that was very challenging for me to get started, but it was something I really wanted to do. I've been playing in heavier bands for the last 15, 20 years, and I was partying a ton, and then I ended up getting sober, which our release date is 6 years of sobriety for me. So that's kind of a special thing. But I started this band when I got sober, right as I was drying out and detoxing. I wrote my first song for it, and then it was during COVID. That started right as I got out of treatment, and which was actually really nice because it made it so I couldn't really go anywhere or go out to the bars or anything like that. And so I just sat in my basement and started writing these songs, and the lyrics just kept pouring out, and I started putting some chords to it. And then I asked my buddy Mike Friedman to come on in and play some pedal steel. Originally is what I just wanted, but he said, you know what, let's go ahead and throw a couple other things on there. So he threw some guitar on there, and my buddy Aaron, he did drums for us and just sent us the files. Like I said, it was during COVID, so we did everything kind of in our own home studios, and we put the EP together. And then after COVID started kind of slowing down, then my buddy Javid came over, and he was like, let's play these songs. I want to play them with you. And so he got me to start playing them and start singing. And that was a big change for me because I'm used to yelling, in the heavier bands.
Yeah.
And so being a front man and trying to sing, at least, was a big change for me. But it was very challenging, very fun. It started out as a alter ego for me. The Lightning Stills, it was a character, like a kind of rhinestone cowboy bootlegger. The name Lightning Stills comes from moonshine, white lightning stills.
Oh, cool.
And that was I had a whole theme where I basically took on this persona, and it kind of helped me get through the challenge of putting the bottle down. And then once we started playing more as a band, then I was like, you know what, I'm surrounded by incredible musicians. This isn't a one-man thing anymore. This is a whole band. So now it's less of the character and more of a whole band as Lightning Stills.
That's really neat. You mentioned that this project started at a really pivotal point in your life. I'm really curious if you're comfortable talking about your experience getting sober and sort of what compelled you to start your journey with sobriety.
Yeah, it was President's Day. It was Sunday before President's Day, which is today, and I got hammered And I woke up and I had the day off work and I started drinking right away. And then everything just kind of disappeared. And next thing I know, I woke up in the hospital and my dad was there waiting for me from out of town. And, he got me out of there. We sat in his truck in the parking lot and just talked about stuff for a while. And like, you know what? Let's go to treatment. Let's nip this in the butt. Let's not wait any longer. Let's do this right now. So we went home and he told me to go sleep it off for a little bit. And I had a half pint still in my jacket and I chugged that half pint of whiskey down and I went to bed and that was the last I drank. And when I woke up, probably around like 3:30 or 4 in the afternoon, he drove me to a clinic and dropped me off there. I wanted to drive, but I'm very, very glad that he drops me off because there's a chance I would have, scooted on out of there.
Yeah.
So it was good that I was kind of stuck there. And it came down to, I had, right now I have 4 kids. My wife had 2 kids and I had my 2 boys at the time. And, it just basically came down to these 2 boys need a father. And the way I was going, they weren't going to have one much longer, And so I just decided that I had put my time in. I had done plenty of drinking and partying and everything like that. So I just retired from it and I still drink non-alcoholic beers, Budweiser Zeros mainly to kind of help me get that craving.
Sure.
But it's been great. Once I decided to do it for my boys, then it was just like no turning back. And there's very few times that I have a craving where I want alcohol, which is nice. I'm very fortunate because I know that's not the case for a lot of people. But when it happens, it's a flash. It'll be like, hey, that sounds really good right now just because I'm stressed and I see a, liquor store across the street and I'll be like, maybe I should get something. And then it's like instantly smashed. Like you realize everything that would fall apart. Like if I went back to drinking, I'd be done for. So I just, I put my time in.
That's really inspirational. Thank you so much for sharing that. Rather than lecturing on the evils of alcohol, your album chooses to tell life stories while still being in the moment. What was the creative reasoning behind this approach with the album?
There was no rhyme or reason for it. It was just, like I said, songs just start pouring out of me. And unlike any other band I've ever been in, just for some reason, this character that I started with, I could really relate to. And it was a good way of coping with things for me, I think. The record is not a concept or anything like that. It's just, I had a bunch of songs and I said, which ones should we use? And we picked out, 8 of them. And, we recorded a couple extra that are coming out later, but on this one, it has 8 songs and it's all true stuff. It's just me venting, basically. It's in a comical way, but when you realize what it's about, it's a lot darker. That's just kind of, for some reason, that is just my coping mechanism, I guess, just to kind of write funny stuff that's actually traumatizing.
I feel that. I have I have dark humor as well, but about different things.
Sure.
Did working on the album sort of help you with staying sober at the time?
Yeah, absolutely. The whole thing is just a great creative process for me, and it keeps me occupied, keeps me out of trouble, gives me a way to put my feelings down on paper, and then project them out with the music. And I love working with Mike. I love working with Dan. I love working with all the guys in the band. Like, it's been really great. And the other thing is most of the band is retired drunks. We're all sober except for one of us. So right now, so our practices have lots of NA beers chugged, but we used to all hang out at the same bar together, and now we're all just kind of sticking together and doing our thing. And we've got a outlet that's keeping us busy and not wanting to drink, so it's working out all right.
That's great. You mentioned it a little bit earlier, and I was reading up about this. You guys have all played in various genres of music, metal, folk, indie. How do you know what genre best fits a project?
It's just whatever I'm feeling at the time, I think. My music is all over the board, what I listen to. So it's just natural to be, like one night we have a very heavy band that practices and shakes the whole house. And then another night during the week, we have this country band practice, and, it's very tame and a lot less yelling, and we don't use such big cabinets for our guitars. So yeah, it's fun.
How did you find kind of the right sound for this album? You mentioned that like the content matter is very heavy, but the tone is very lighthearted. How'd you kind of settle for this one?
You mean like music wise, like sound wise,
Yeah.
the instruments? With this album, the last couple releases we had, I made the chords for, and then Mike decorated the cake. He did all the cool stuff on it. And so with this album, it was the first time doing a different writing approach where I wrote the lyrics and I handed them to Mike, and then he wrote chords to go with it. And then, as a band, it kind of, you hear little things transformed here and there, but it was a big collaboration where it just ended up blending together so well. And he just has this way of bringing out exactly what I want in the songs, what I'm going for, the feeling I'm going for.
That's amazing. One of the tracks, My Mama Wants a Love Song, was just recently released as a single. Can you break down that song a little bit for me?
I sure can. One day, my mom called me up and she was like, you know what? Why don't you knock it off with the drinking and the drugging stuff? Like, write your wife a nice love song. Like, she deserves something like that, this little stuff, I don't want to hear it anymore. And so after I got off the phone with her, I was just sitting there thinking about how uncomfortable that was, that like trying to write a love song was at that time. Not because I don't have love feelings for my wife, but to make myself that vulnerable at that time when I was at was very cringy, and so then I started thinking, well, why don't I just write about this? So I just kind of took it, and it ended up with the video. I made a video for it, and it ended up turning into a love song for my mom and kind of for all moms.
That's really neat. I definitely get what you mean about like a love song can't be like forced.
Right.
You definitely have to be like in the right mindset and have the right inspiration, but I definitely know what you're talking about. I listened to the album this week and I really enjoyed the wordplay in the song Spirits. And I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit more about the story that you're trying to tell with that song.
That song is basically just about me, times when I was drinking, when I would be very depressed, and I would just hide out and not answer phone calls, not answer texts, not answer the door, just sit in my room and drink and like try and disappear from the world because I was so overwhelmed. And it just is kind of a song I like to do the play on words. So the spirits chasing me and the alcohol spirits, that was kind of fun to deal with. But it's really just about me being too afraid to face life and just drowning myself in a bottle instead.
I really enjoyed the kind of dual meaning of the word spirit in the song, and I thought that was really neat.
Thank you.
I would also love to hear from you what song off the album that you feel either holds like a special significance or has a really unique backstory.
I think that Close Down the Bar, that one I'm really proud of and I really like a lot. And it's one of the more positive, uplifting songs on the album, as opposed to dealing with all the, negative effects of drinking and addiction and everything like that. And then dealing with the aftermath of that as well. But Close Down the Bar, I was at a one night only screening of tribute show called Playing Possum. It was a tribute to George Jones, and it was in a theater. And I went to go see it with my wife, and they were talking about how he closed down the bar. And in my head, I just kind of start joking. I start thinking about the level of the magnitude of drinking that I was doing at the bars. And I was like, oh, I closed down the bar when I quit drinking. And then it was just like a Dewey Cox moment. It just like sparked in my head. And I was enjoying the movie, but I really wanted to get home and write this, like put pen to paper and just get this going. And so I was kind of sneaking my notes app on my phone, putting things down as they came. And I couldn't wait to get out of there. I got home and that song just came together really quick. And it was really fun for me. And it was a song celebrating my escape from the bar, but also realizing how much effect all around me my drinking was causing.
That's really neat. If you could have listeners take away one thing from listening to your album, what would it be?
Oh, that's a really good question. I haven't thought about that.
Thank you.
We're just a good time in band, and I'm just venting my stuff. I just hope that there's some other people like me out there maybe will relate to some of the things that I'm saying. And this is an album that I'm very, very, very proud of. And I'm excited for it to get out there and for people to hear it. And I just want people to, I mean, even though it has dark stuff, I just want people to have fun with it and enjoy the songs. And, like I said, we're a good time in band. So it's all about fun. Even though we're touching on some dark subjects, it's just about having a good time and, putting your head down and realizing you have to get through it.
That's great. And you have, in my opinion, you have a lot of things to be proud of. But I'm curious, what is something that maybe you don't get to kind of like talk about that you're really proud of?
I am most proud of my family, I would say. I do everything for them, like our house is a lot of fun. And it's kind of like a Brady Bunch situation, like I said. But we got 4 kids, 4 goats, 4 cats, big old dog. It's quite a funny farm over here. The goats are fainting goats. I got them at the beginning of the year, so this was their first winter, their first time seeing snow. So that was interesting. But the dog stays outside and plays with the goat, or not plays, protects the goats overnight. And he does play with them too. He used to try to make them faint a lot. He doesn't do that as much anymore, but he does that. And then I've got barn doors that I had to install all throughout my house because for various reasons we have 4 cats. I've never been a cat person ever in my life. I never wanted to live with a cat, and now I'm living with 4 cats. I don't mind though, but I had to put barn doors in, like slidey ones, and some bar like swinging doors to kind of corral certain cats from not interacting with other cats because different situations. There's some of them don't get along, and it's just
I get that.
it's a lot going on over here.
That sounds like a really fun house, though, to hang out.
It is, and it like I said, it's something I'm proud of, and this is the first home I owned. Is like a little cabin in the woods right in the middle of the small town that I'm in. I only have like 2 neighbors. I'm surrounded by trees. You can see all the stars at night. We got goats, we got land, we got, it's really nice, and it's fun being able to do things that I want to do because I can, like I'm going to put in like a Murphy bookshelf.
Ooh.
And just I do things like that to make it fun for the kids too,
Yeah, that's super neat. My last question for you actually comes from somebody else. I do a segment where I have the previous guest ask a question for you, and then you get to ask a question for whoever my next guest might be. So my last guest on the show, her name is Hilly Hindi, and she is on YouTube under The Hillywood Show. And she would like to ask you, what is your favorite way to unwind, but kind of stay in the creative space without it being work?
I never thought that really writing would be a big thing for me, but ever since, like I said, I started writing these lyrics for this, now I've got ideas for different literature and like short film and like all kinds of I'm just like bursting with ideas now, and I think that writing like creative writing has been a really good thing for me, a really good outlet. Like I said, I've got just probably 100 songs in my notes app because when I get an idea I do everything ass backwards. So I write my songs like I think of a clever, funny name or a clever, funny lyric, and then I write the song around that.
Okay.
So it's kind of a different approach, but it's a lot of fun. And so it's the creative writing thing. I wish that I could do that for a living, just do some kind of creative writing. I got a job that supports my family right now that I'm set at, but I dream would be to be a creative writer, do what I want.
That sounds awesome. I love creative writing as well. So now you can ask anything you want for my next guest. I don't know who it is yet, though.
Okay. Ask them what their favorite Neil Young song is and why.
Okay. Sounds good to me. And then lastly, before I let you go, I like to give my artists a chance to do any kind of shameless self-promotion. This will be released, I believe, after the album comes out. So anything you want to plug, now is the time.
This new album comes out on February 20th. So if this video is after that, check it out. It's on all streaming platforms. It's available at maxtraxrecords.com, MAXTRAX records, all one word. And then we got all our links and everything up there. We're on YouTube. I make tons of weird videos. They're all up on there on the Lightning Stills YouTube page. Mike and I went down to Nashville earlier this year and we played at D's, and they were kind enough to record it and stream it, and I chopped that up, and so all those songs are available. That was a real challenge for me to do with, going from the other bands to this band and then going to just acoustic and pedal steel. That was very hard because there's not a lot of people to back up my mistakes, cover them up when I'm playing. So just kind of me and him up there. But yeah, our YouTube, maxtraxrecords.com, we got our record up there for sale, and there's a couple limited whiskey pint bottle ones, brown, available. So hopefully they'll still be available. when this comes out. Or maybe not. Maybe hopefully not.
Yeah, man. Hopefully they sell out. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining, Craig. I really enjoyed talking to you about your album.
Thank you so much for having me. This was really fun.
That's all for today's episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening. I'll be linking Lightning Stills and Craig's socials in the description below, so make sure you listen to their new album and go follow them on social media so that you don't miss any updates from them. Once again, make sure that you're following the Morning Brew podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Instagram so you don't miss any of the cool uploads that we have coming your way. Be sure to tune in next time because I have a very special guest. The band Bell and Chain is joining me live from backstage. This consists of Davis I.L. from the Barnes, Courtney and Friends episode, as well as his counterpart Spencer Grammer from Rick and Morty.